iron and steel industry, that's the foundation of modern industry. Okay. We don't want to be exporting bauxite, dust. We want to be processing this bauxite here into alumina and aluminium. I'm using that smelter to process our own alumina. I'm not exporting bauxite, importing alumina, using our electricity to produce aluminium, and exporting most of it.
Social development is a very critical way of measuring how a country is developing. And it covers a very wide range of areas. It's about education, access to education, the quality of education, the skills people are able to build, their capacities, and so on. It's about health, how to have a healthy population free from disease. It's about nutrition and food security. It is that no child should go hungry in Ghana in this present period. And it's something which happens. We are not out of that yet. It's about the quality of jobs we have. And this is a very critical part of social development, because if you have a good job, a job which earns a decent wage, or a job which is productive, highly productive, it allows you to deal with many other aspects of social development, like buy good health, buy food and security, and so on. It allows you in your old age to have a sense of security after all the hard work and contributions you've made to Ghana. So that's a very critical part. It's also about leisure, it's about cultural activities, it's about sports, it's about participating in the life of a nation. It's about energy needs and how they are supplied, whether people have clean energy and are not using wood lots all the time, because we know that people who cook on wood fuel, using wood fuel regularly, actually have upper respiratory diseases which affect them in their long term and sometimes cause their deaths. It's about physical security and it's about social security. So you can see that it's about more or less everything that we are concerned about, and that's why social development is very central.
A comprehensive long-term national development plan is absolutely essential for sound infrastructure delivery. Infrastructure, be it a railway line, a power plant, a thermal plant, once it's established, continues to influence industries and users for an extended period of time. These projects take a long time to plan, a further few years to construct, and can remain in use for a long time if it's adequately maintained. Therefore, the primary beneficiaries of infrastructure in this current generation may as well be the next generation. And this brings out an important attribution of infrastructure as intergenerational resource transfer, meaning that one generation uses it and is transferred to the next generation. Decisions on investments therefore require long-term perspectives. They must be taken with population growth in mind, increased prosperity, expansion of jobs, and increased disposable income.
Institutions and governance are an essential part of the planning, the long-term planning process, as well as the rollout and implementation of the entire plan. We need a certain type of institution to deliver the development that Ghanaians deserve. Institutions that are performing, institutions that are responsive, institutions that are transparent, institutions that can learn lessons and run with them, institutions that relate well to others, so that there's seamless delivery of development. And so as part of this process, we need to involve the institutions in determining the kind of Ghana that we want and their roles, what they're going to be able to do to give us the Ghana that we want, because whatever we do, we are relying on them as vehicles of implementation. When Ghanaians set objectives for where
the precious Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Shall we all say amen and amen?
Amen. And that was indeed brief. He's the chaplain of the Accra Academy School, Reverend Adaida Pa. And as of now, almost all our dignitaries are here. And I'll be introducing them shortly so we know that indeed this is a high-level meeting with youngsters of Ghana, including myself. And in the course of the program, I'll be telling you why this is a real-time privilege, not just a privilege, but exercising our right as young people of Ghana. Indeed, you are all unique, you are all dignitaries in waiting. Let me start with Dr. Fred Bagonluri. And he's actually a Ghanaian scientist, and as the Dean of Engineering in Ashesi University, he's actually the Dean of Engineering in Ashesi University. He was also the VP for new product development and a number of initiatives he's been embarking on, which, trust me, they are worth knowing. In the course of the program, I'll be telling you more of some of the things he does, actually. He was born to David McBagonluri and Patience Mensah, and he started his preparatory school in Accra and proceeded to Nandom Secondary School, where he actually obtained distinction at the ordinary level certificate examinations. And from there, he went to St. Augustine's College in Cape Coast for his advanced level education. And I'm actually saying all these, especially for us as in the youngsters here, to take something from their profile. So kindly take note as I go through their profiles. Right, so Fred McBagonluri was the Worldwide Director, Research and Development at Becton Dickinson & Co., a Fortune 500 company located in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Fred graduated from Central State University and then went on to do a number of things, holding a certificate in management and leadership from Mate Sloan School of Management, and has successfully completed the advanced management course and mentoring programs. And he also has an advanced leadership development, or has championed that program from BD University. Mr. or Dr. Fred McBagonluri, shall we see you? I couldn't finish up reading his profile because if I continue, we may end up getting to the end of the program and still being on it. So kindly pardon me. We have our deputy minister arriving, and he's the next to be introduced. And when it comes to student activism, championing initiatives for youngsters, you can actually count on him. And one thing that you oftentimes hear youngsters saying is that, has he ever been, employed in an informal sector before? Well, straight from school, then he was handed a position to serve in. That's what you would oftentimes hear people say. But that should have come as a result of his hard work and then being at the forefront of ensuring that students and youngsters of Ghana receive the best. So, Honorable Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa is currently Ghana's Deputy Minister of Education in charge of tertiary education. He was appointed by President John Dramani Mahama in February 2013. He doubles as a legislator representing the good people of North Tong in the Volta region in Ghana's parliament. He was elected Member of Parliament in 2012, winning 90.5% of total votes cast. In Parliament, he serves on the appointment and the Roads and Transport Committees. He was previously appointed by the late President, Professor John Evans Atta-Mills, as Deputy Minister of Information from April 2009 to January 2013. He is a former president of the National Union of Ghana Students, for which I was explaining more to you earlier. He later became Managing Director of Service Solutions. And he's gone on to do a number of things. He received numerous awards, including Outstanding Youth Leader in West Africa by the West Africa Students Union in Kaduna, Nigeria in 2009, and Special Alumnus Award by the National Union of Ghana Students. He's also Old Vandal. He received an award from the Vandals in 2008. Award of recognition by the Volta Hall, JCR of the University of Ghana, and the list of honors, awards, certificates, blah, 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 go on like that. So, shall we welcome our minister? Most welcome. Welcome. Colleagues. Right. So the next person I'm about introducing is Ghana's longest-serving finance minister. He's in the person of Professor Kwesi Botry. Shall we welcome him? He actually doesn't need lengthy introductions. And to my extreme right is yet another personality worth knowing. He's championed the cause of young people in Ghana for several years now. He was recently adjudged the best journalist in Ghana. He mans a youth-led advocacy organization called Curious Minds, with chapters across the length and breadth of this nation, with programs held on Onu FM, Unique FM, and on other radio stations across the country. He's in the person of Mr. Kingsley Obintre with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Welcome, sir. And there are other dignitaries that I'll be introducing to you as we continue with the program. So at this juncture, let's start with the welcome address. And this will be done by Mr. Samuel Ofuri Ejei. He's the headmaster of the Accra Academy School. Sir.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and students. Since the MC continues to introduce the dignitaries, I'll wait until he does that, and then finally I'll be able to stand on existing protocols. Because I'm yet to know some of the dignitaries on the high table. But I can quickly identify Dr. Kwesi Boche, and then the Deputy Minister. We were at the dinner dance of Accra Academic quite recently. And then my Chief Director, Ghana Education Service, Mr. Kopina, and then my Acting Deputy Director General, Mrs. Boache Yalo. I would want to say how happy we are as a school to be hosting all this important program. I think those, especially the students who have been following developments in the country, you are aware that the National Development Planning Commission is doing a nationwide tour to come out with a blueprint that will help develop the country several years ahead of time. I don't know whether my Chief Director remembers this. One time I went to him when I was the CHAS president, and we're discussing educational policies. Then he made a profound statement that, Mr. Headmaster, it looks as if we, the technocrats, are failing the politicians. And that if, for instance, the technocrats had come out with, say, 4 main thrusts of how our educational agenda should look like, any politician who comes will look at those things and fit his program into those 4 trusts. I don't know whether Chief remembers. I went to him, we were discussing something. So the National Development Planning Commission is an organization or an institution which has been given this mandate to give a certain direction to this country. And some of us who have worked with students for years, I'm close to 40 years in the teaching profession, and I've seen that if the adult of today doesn't put proper plans in place for the youth of tomorrow, where shall we be? Very soon, those on the table here, whether we like it or not, will pass away. And it will be your turn. And therefore, if the program lineup for the next 20, 30 years is not properly grounded, so that others can be built upon it, then we are in trouble. So I'm glad that this forum that is titled The Youth of Ghana, or Youth of Ghana, the Future We Want to Build for Ourselves, is very timely. And I believe that whether you are in JHS, you are in SHS, you would want to listen attentively to all who have been lined up to speak. And then let's listen to your ideas. Your days are different from when we were children. Now you have a whole lot of things that can give you the needed information, unlike those days when I was growing in a village near Numapapam in the Eastern region. You have the net, you can read, you can Google, you can do all manner of things. So there is a lot that you, the youth of today, can also contribute to what we, the adults, are doing. And I believe in our school system, the SRCs, my school here, we meet in my office regularly, and we discuss the way forward. Mine is to simply welcome you to this program, and I hope that these representatives of the schools we've identified to be here, you are going to listen with rapt attention, whatever the adults have for you, make your contributions, and let's see how we can feed into this national launch of Youth of Ghana, the future we want to build for ourselves. Accra Academy is a school I think most of you are aware of. We are 85 years old. We celebrate our 85th anniversary just the 21st of July. And we've done a lot. This is not when we are going to mention all the people who have passed through the portals of this school. You can see our compound, we are still doing some developments. And then on the left here, the students, when you close, just go and see what Asamoah, an old student of this school, he left here in 2002. He is giving us an AstroTurf field. And we expect that you will also feed into the building of this country when you also get to some stage in life one day. On this note, I welcome all of you to the program. Let's enjoy the rest of the day. We have our boys around. If you want to get to the washroom or you want any immediate assistance, I think my protocol team is around. They will support you. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, sir. And when he mentioned that in no time dignitaries here may be off the scene, I saw one gentleman, a student nodding with him, as though to say that, yes, I'm ready to take over. Gentlemen, well done. And we pray that you become whatever you set your mind to. Shall we now welcome the chairperson? I introduced him to you earlier. He is considered, or he is actually Ghana's longest serving finance minister. He was. So he has considerable experience to share with us. And as of now, he's actually the chairperson of the National Development Planning Commission. He's in the person of Professor Kwesi Botry. Sir, welcome.
Thank you, young man, for that introduction. The Honorable Deputy Minister of Education, my colleagues on the high table, especially our distinguished keynote speaker. I'm delighted to be here this morning at this function. I have to say that I'm quite impressed with the look of Accra. I was, as I drove in, when we were in secondary school, I was at Presec initially, before I got to St. Augustine's. But at Presec, we were pretty scared of Accra students. They were reputed, I don't say were, in fact, to be tough guys. You didn't kind of mess with them at inter-school activities and so on. But I noticed a certain softening of the look of the students that I see around. But Mr. Headmaster, it's been a tremendous transformation of the infrastructure of the school, and I commend you. I hear that this has to do in part with the very active Old Boys Association that you have, but I commend you on the vast improvements that have happened in infrastructure, and also in performance and congratulate you on your 85th anniversary. Today's rather low-key program that we are launching is a very, very important one, the launch of the youth of Ghana, the future we want to build for ourselves. This function is a very, very important dimension of our long-term National Development Plan process, whose distinguishing feature, whose defining feature is its very pronounced consultation process. Even before we launched the process about a year ago, we decided that one of the reasons why previous national long-term plans hadn't quite seen the consistent implementation that they needed was because, among other things, they didn't benefit from the consultation that they needed to provide the national ownership and anchoring of the plans. And therefore, very early in the day, many, in fact, faulted us for doing an unduly extended process of consultation before the plan preparation itself was launched. But it is a decision that we took consciously and one that we do not wish at all to apologize for. It is a very important aspect of the plan preparation process, and this is very much a part of it. In this case, the youth consultation program that is intended, among other things, first, to increase your awareness of the primacy and importance of national planning as the surest way of securing your future as young people. And secondly, to get you involved in the plan consultation and process itself, as well as the ongoing debates around the plan. And thirdly, to seek your views and your perspectives on what you wish to see Ghana look like when Ghana attains 100 years old. And finally, to help stoke community participation through you. Because as you get involved in the plan preparation process, as you clarify your own perspectives and engage parents and members of your communities in discussion, you will be helping to stoke debate and discussion among the communities to which you belong. So for us at the NDPC, this is not some act of tokenism that is intended to assuage some conscience, some cliche. But the very, very important dimension of the process that is intended to give it legitimacy, and above all, to enable us to engage perhaps the most critical stakeholders of our long-term plan. Our national youth policy, I believe, defines our youth as those between 15 and 35. By that definition, about 35% of our population belong to the youth, are young, so to speak. Now, if you add children 5 years and older, we're looking at a segment of our population that's about 60%. And if you add babies and infants, as you must, you're looking at about 75% of our population. All this according to the 2010 Population and Housing Census projected through 2016 by our distinguished statisticians, one of whom, Grace, is with us at the NDPC. So, above all else, you're dealing with a very, very significant, a large segment of our population, and those who have the greatest stake in long-term planning. You know, recently, the British, the United Kingdom conducted a referendum on the continuing membership of the EU. The Conservative Party in power under former Prime Minister David Cameron decided to conduct a referendum, but they didn't really engage the youth as such, or even other generations. They just conducted a general referendum. And the outcome was ironic in many ways, because the older generations voted mostly to exit for Brexit, and the younger generation, who really had the strongest stake in the continuation or cessation of the United Kingdom as a member of the EU, they, in the end, lost out. Okay, all of this underscoring the importance of ensuring that all stakeholders are consulted in these processes, but above all, that those who have the greatest stake in the consistent implementation of plans are consulted. So you are a very important segment of our population, and perhaps the stakeholders, not perhaps, really the stakeholders with the greatest stake in successful long-term planning. Now, the importance of youth in these processes is recognized not just by us at the NDPC, not because it has such inexorable logic. It is recognized also by regional and global initiatives, regional agendas by ECOWAS, the African Union, the global initiatives such as the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, and the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. All these underscore the great importance of the youth in national development. So you have a tremendous responsibility to take the process we are launching today extremely seriously. Unlike older generations to which we belong, Ablakwa and them kind of still belong to the broad category of the youth. You have a major responsibility. You are growing up in a totally different environment, an environment that is characterized by much easier access to knowledge than any of the generations that have inhabited this earth. Knowledge and information on just about anything is always just a click away. So it is absolutely important that you take this process seriously, because we don't mean it as an act of tokenism, but a very important and integral part of the process of preparing this long-term plan, which you will be the prime beneficiaries of. But in order for you to be able to play this critical role in shaping the views that will anchor the plan, it is important that you, in turn, educate yourselves rigorously so as to be able to fashion the views and perspectives that you'll be communicating and contributing towards the debate. As a nation, we much too often conduct debates on critical national issues, not always with the same rigor commitment to principled debate and a joining of issues as we should. Well, this is one area, that is to say, the preparation of this 40-year plan, where we can't afford to be cursory, to be polemical, and to play games with rigorous analysis. So I invite you to catch this ball in flight and to contribute as vigorously to the process as you can. I thank you.
After that succinct explanation of the objectives and relevance, I think he deserves more than we did. But hold it, don't move on. We shall give him a special clap. As young people, we must show that indeed we are young, vibrant, and all that. So I am going to tell you how to go about it within a minute, then we move on. So I'll stretch forth my hand, then you clap once. As I stretch forth the next or the left, then you clap. So let it move at the pace by which my hands will be coming out or coming towards you, right? I hope we got it. So shall we? Right. Thank you very much, Professor Kwesi Botry. Now, there are a number of dignitaries here worth acknowledging, and the one to introduce next for you to know is Dr. Mensah Bonsu. He actually is the director at the National Development Planning Commission. He's been a lecturer for the past 19 years, so he's someone you really ought to know. Shall we see you, please? Where is Doc? Oh, he's there, right there. Most welcome, sir. Most welcome. And from the Ghana Education Service, right, he's instead from the Ministry of Education in the person of Enoch Imans Kodna. He's the Chief Director there. Shall we see you, sir? Okay. So after the opening remarks, time to hear brief statements by our partners, those collaborating to ensure that this event comes off successfully. And the next person to invite is from the Ghana Education Service. He's actually representing the Acting Director General, and he's the Acting Deputy Director General for the Ghana Education Service, Madam Felicia Wachiyadom. You're welcome.
Prof. Chair of the National Development Planning Commission, Honorable Deputy Minister of Education, Honorable Tito Ablakwa, Director General of the National Development Planning Commission, my own Chief Director of the Ministry of Education, distinguished speaker who will give us the keynote address, Directors of Ministry of Education, Directors of the National Development Planning Commission, District Directors of Education and their reps, ladies and gentlemen, my dear teachers, students and peoples, good morning. Today's gathering here at Accra Academy is eventful and it is historic. And we welcome my dear young people from primary, junior, and senior high school who are here and who represent our future. We, your parents and teachers who are here, have the privilege of speaking with you today on this occasion, and we are proud to be part of this history. The Director General of the Ghana Education Service has sent his greetings and is grateful to the National Development Planning Commission for this forum and for this engagement. My dear young people, the theme for this occasion, Youth of Ghana, the future we want to build for ourselves, signifies this forum is for you. Many people describe you as millennials because you are living now and you are likely to be part of the world in the next generation. Make no mistake about it. You have been born to be part of this century and likely to be part of the next century. If there's a plan which will guide and shape the nation's development over the next 40 years, then you must own the plan. You must not merely own a plan, you must be part of the actions and engagements and be part of them. You must express your views and you must express your hopes and your aspirations, how you want your world to be. Your voice must be stronger in the plan, and it is an opportunity to articulate your dream. Many of the adults you see here today will be no more with you 40 years to come. But you see us here today because we want you to realize the importance of being part of planning for national development. Planning for your families, planning for the economy, planning for infrastructure, planning for health, and planning for education. We are also here because it is our duty as parents and as teachers to guide you into the future. We cannot leave you alone to travel the precarious journey without our lessons and without our experiences. We are the ones that should set a platform to generate dialogue and discourse and how you should go about your education and your careers to shape Ghana's future. Prof. Chairman, we, the teachers of the Ghana Education Service, have some recommendations for each young person here as they plan for future Ghana. Learn who you really are and never denounce your identity as a Ghanaian. Learn to learn and learn continuously and prepare yourself for every career and every opportunity because tomorrow's job world and tomorrow's job market, they are unknown. Be resilient, strong and hopeful because any unknown trail will have pitfalls. But when you fall, you must wake up. As Ghanaian born with that identity and purpose, you must not be a failure. Set goals and be anchored in our values and our culture and expect to accomplish the impossible for yourselves and for upholding the good name of Ghana, our motherland. Make history. Make good history. Don't leave sorry trails behind that posterity after you will not be happy to talk about. Finally, remember, Ghanaians are God-fearing people. So recognize God to be part of your dream Ghana in your activities, entertainment, debate, and discussions. The Ghana you want should be closer to God. Churches and mosques should not be turned to hostels, restaurants, discos, as we see happening in other countries. In the next 40 years, they must be continued places of worship to keep us together as a people. It is my fervent hope that participation in this program will make you take active interest and participate in all events that are going to be outdoor in the Dream Ghana Week and other programs that will come. Be ambassadors and discuss and share what you understand this event to be with your parents, with your families, with your friends, and with your schoolmates, both in school and out of school. My dear teachers and school communities, parents, be always there for these young people. Let us guide and support them to champion the program that will lead our nation to be a better Ghana. Ghana needs us to help the youth realize the dream of Ghana 40 years to come. Long live the Ghana Education Service. Long live the youth and children of Ghana. Long live Ghana. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Madam. She's Madam Felicia Boachi Yadom with the Ghana Education Service. Next to come is Ernest Amwakun. He's actually the director in charge of ICT at the National Youth Authority. He's representing the man in charge of the Youth Authority. Ras Mubarak, welcome.
Good morning. I bring warm greetings from the management and staff of the National Youth Authority. Mr. Chair, Honorable Minister, members of the high tables, or other protocols observed, good morning again. It goes without saying that there's a linkage between youth and national development, and this the Chair has spoken much about. Therefore, the role of the youth in national development cannot be overemphasized. The wheel of development of any nation lies on the shoulders of how productive and creative its youth are. The youth in any society fuels the engine of growth and development as they provide the labor force for production of goods and services. Therefore, they are the critical mass of people whose action and inaction can develop or destroy the fiber of a society. Interestingly, the transition of society from one generation to another is critical to the formative and developmental aspirations of every society. This is why societies that prepare their youth for the sake of the future aspirations will not only secure her future, but will equip her next generation of leaders with the right perspectives to face the challenges of leadership and development. Ladies and gentlemen, engaging the youth, therefore, in this all-important national assignment will ensure the creation of the necessary platform for the next generation of Ghanaians to affect the charting of the Ghana's development course. Their mindsets and roles are vital to the development of our country. As a government institution mandated to facilitate youth development in Ghana, the National Youth Authority recognizes this initiative of focused consultation, and it's very hopeful that it would provide the youth with the foresight and the opportunity of preparing for tomorrow today. Thank you for your attention. Arise, Ghana Youth, for your country. God bless Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you for making it very snappy. And some of the schools we have here include Amasaman Senior High School. We also have Carnation Bishop JHS. We have Accra Academy, the host school, Ogwa Senior High. We have Pentecost Preparatory School, located at Bubiashi. Then we have Agri Memorial School also here. There are other schools joining, and we shall introduce them as we progress. Now, the next speaker to present his statement, before he comes, it is important that you know the gentleman, your colleague, speaking to you. And my introduction reflects in what he's done over the years. And he actually picked me up from a slum suburb of La here in Accra, and gave me an opportunity just as you've been given. I began presenting a radio show on Obonu FM called Momlinko every Saturday, and also participated actively in a youth-led program on Unique FM. And through that, I am now a broadcast journalist with Metro TV, and also continue to produce a number of programs. Recently, during the GJA Journalist Award, I was adjudged the best journalist in human rights reporting. Yeah, so it is actually as a result of the opportunity I was given, just as you've been given. Recently, UNICEF and the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development also awarded 3 young journalists doing so well with the eradication of open defecation in this country. Unfortunately, I was one of the 3 selected to receive that award. Ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman who has played this instrumental role in my life is Mr. Kingsley Obintre from the Children and Youth in Broadcasting Curious Minds. Most welcome.
Thank you very much. We call him in short Gibash. Gabriel Obuda has shown. Honorable Chairman of the National Development Planning Commission and all dignitaries here, and I want to stand on the existing protocols as I start. Gabriel took my introduction from me because I really wanted to say that what matters is that we remain committed to whatever action we want to do, and we shall see results. And for me personally, I keep telling them in the group that my awards are not the epitaphs that will be written or the trophies that I hold, but in human beings, because anywhere they go, they become very worthy ambassadors of the process we began. And the good thing about it is that they work with other young people and motivate them to action and to achieve. So this is what we all want to remain committed to. But this is not what we are talking about now, even though it's still in line as we look at the long-term development plan. You might have heard sometimes that people are saying, oh, in Ghana, they say we have a long-term development plan. 40 years, son. Then when I'm close to the people, I tell them, we don't have a 40-year development plan. We are still planning to have that one in place. So the 40 years son, assuming you've gotten closer to the relevant authorities, you will get to make an input that will make it 40 years son. You will see that we are having 4 years incremental ones, and maybe as you live, your 4 years will make a difference by the input you make. And that is why it is so important for young people to be involved presently in what we are talking about. When we launched the process 2 years ago, I should say a year ago, at the conference center, the 8-year-old who happened to have been my young roommate stated something, that she wants to see a world where children will not have to be woken up at 4 and rushed through a process to be sent to school because there is so much traffic and their parents get annoyed early in the morning. You will think that is not part of it, but that is an essential part of the development process we are talking about. This is part of the plans we are envisaging as we try to plan. And it is telling you that that 8-year-old, by the time we have managed to do something within the 40 years, will be how many years old? 48. Possibly. People like her may be the president at the time. So it means that we are not planning, as has been mentioned, for some of us sitting here, but the real plan is for you sitting down there. So it is so important that we bring you in. I was happy the chairman mentioned something that sometimes we lose sight of. We live in a global environment. And a global village means that what happens somewhere else will also affect you wherever you are. So now we are talking about the Sustainable Development Goals. Sometimes we call it Agenda 2030. Another name is the Transformational Agenda. By the year 2030, we are looking at things we can do to help improve humanity, our lives. So we start asking the question, how can we be part of this process? You are not going to New York to be part of the process. That commitment and action starts from where you are, your very local level. That is why before we had the Agenda 2030, there were consultations right from the base, and people were inputting. We visited one place, and just when we finished the consultations, one older lady called me and said, I want to thank you people. And you know why she says so? When they are doing all the things, they don't come and ask us. I'm very happy you came to ask us questions about what we want in whatever plan you are talking of. It is a blessing. We shall succeed. I was so touched by what this lady said. So it means that people value whatever is going to be done when they know that their voice is included in that same thing that is going to be done. And we are at a point in time where we are not just talking about the transformational agenda or the Agenda 2030, we are also talking about, at the AU level, African Union level, Agenda 2063. So it means that we live in a time where we are really consciously trying to plan our future. That future is so important, and that future means that you should be part of it, because we've seen that you will be the greater beneficiaries when it works so well for us. I had the opportunity of interacting with some scientists from the Netherlands, and anytime, no matter the type of person you speak to, they don't lose sight of one statement. By the year 2050, the world's population will be 9 billion. So that world population must be fed. So we are putting this in place, that in place. And I saw that it was a common line, a common thread in whatever they say, no matter the type of interaction you are having with them. So consciously, it's been inbuilt in them that they should plan consciously, not now, 2050, 2050. That is what they presently are looking at. So we start asking the questions, what are we doing? 2016, calculate the number of years between now and the year 2050. People are taking planning seriously. And that is why I want to commend the National Development Planning Commission for putting in place processes that everybody will at a point in time find that I said something, it is here. Let me also push and help that agenda succeed. Let's bear in mind that governments will go, governments will come, but the development process is vital for us as a people. So we push a development agenda and not just a small agenda of one government or the other. When we are supporting actively, we are doing so well with what we want to do. Now we talk about what we call demographic dividends. The population experts are saying that we have a greater number of young people existing in our world today. The situation is not different in our country. But if we have what we call the demographic dividends and having a lot more young people, we start asking the questions, how do we benefit from them? And we always make the statement, we don't want the youth bulge, that is the great number of young people, to become the youth bomb. And we've seen that the youth can really become a bomb if they are not well targeted, they are not well trained. We don't want that one to happen at all. So let's consciously support the efforts that are being put in place presently so that we will see ourselves as development agents and not just a youth bomb. What many young people do when they organize themselves now is to call, chant for action. But how do we call for that action? That action will necessarily demand that we go to the negotiation table. Remember, I didn't say confrontational table. Negotiation table. We go there with adequate knowledge. Those who have the power will put theirs. We have the knowledge and the other experience of living young people's lives and the knowledge of how others are developing, and we engage them actively. With such knowledge, always we are able to make progress with dialogue. Remember, dialogue is what helps our process and not confrontation and confusion. So let us always go to the table prepared as we engage with that relevant knowledge. Do not ever leave progress to chance. It never happens anywhere. As we do this, what we are talking about is we are investing in young people. Knowledge is vital. It is not just the buildings, but what is in that gray matter that you use to advance will always help our cause. Japan has got a fine example of not having a lot of resources, but it has got what really can advance the cause of young people. We are engaging you right at the beginning of the process. Some have already taken place. Some are still taking place. You are now in. You are being conscientized. Please be of assistance to the process. The computer age should really be something that benefits us all. Development is never by chance. It is by conscious and deliberate action. And that is what we call plan. And as I wrap up, I saw something on a toddler's t-shirt about 20 years ago, and I always remember it. Sometimes when young people start talking, we have the tendency of saying, wait, your time will come soon. Do you know what was written on that t-shirt? They could not wait for me to stand. They could not wait for me to start walking. They could not wait for me to talk. But now, all I hear is shut up and sit down. In your case, we are not telling you to shut up and sit down. We are saying that you have something to contribute to society. So this is the time to activate that process and contribute to it. It is not by sitting down. The future is not the tomorrow we keep talking about. That future is here and now. It is you. You are part of the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley Obintre. We have other schools joining whilst Mr. Obintre was speaking. So do we have Presec Legon here? Legon boys, are you here? Right, so you're welcome. Then students from the Ghana Senior High School. May we see you? Are you here? Right. The others are Koforidua Tech or Secondary Technical School, then West Africa Senior High School. Having heard the speeches, the presentations, and the related issues, now my simple question is, to whom does the future belong? Colleagues, I'm asking, to whom does the future belong? Oh, to whom does the future belong? Right. So this then leads to, we have a presentation coming up shortly, but I want to warm us up for this presentation. So within a minute, we are doing this to make sure that we all follow through. And it's a short or a very brief song, and we are going to sing as though we are choristers. And those to my right, you are going to play the first row. Those in the middle, the second, then those to my left, you are going to play the third bit. And it goes like this. To whom to, then to whom does it belong to? So those to my right, your role is to sing to. The future belongs to us. Then those in the middle, your bit is to continue singing to whom to, to whom to, to whom to. Then those to my left, yours is to say to whom does it belong to whom does it belong to. So pick up your positions. I hope we got it. We are youngsters, so let's make this place lively. And it's going to happen within a minute, then we continue. Are we ready? So yours is two, and I'm going to introduce you, then you come in to sing, okay? So yours is to say two. The middle bit, or the those in the middle, yours is to say to whom to whom to. Then when I introduce the final bit, then you come in to say to whom does it belong to whom does it belong to. Right, so let's proceed. Those to my right, shall we go? Are we ready? Right. Now tell me if that isn't melodious. Thank you very much. Shall we now welcome Dr. Isaac Frimpong Mensah Bonsu from the National Development Planning Commission with your presentation. Welcome, sir.
To whom does it belong? Do we agree? Those of us here, do we agree that it belongs to the youth? I thought it belongs to all of us. After all, the future begins 5 minutes from here. So since we are all going to be around for some time before we get to 2040, 2057, we are all part of the future. And we all have a role to play. Some of us have made mistakes in the past, which we don't want you to repeat. So we have something to share. Some are still dreaming what the future is going to be like. You also have a role to play. So let's work together. Now, especially in our generation, we are talking about development or about the future. And now we understand development as development of the people, for the people, by the people. That is, everyone is part of the process. Those of us who have read about the Sustainable Development Goals, which Kingsley talked about, there's one statement that I cherish so much. It says, leaving no one behind. Leaving no one behind. And that is the same principle that we have adopted. We want everyone to be part of the process of engineering the future that we want for ourselves. In the past, one government or one group of people could sit in the comfort of their offices, air-conditioned office, and determine what the future should be for all of us. That time is past and gone. Even at the international level, the United Nations, when they started with the Millennium Development Goals, they met somewhere and decided for all of us to buy into. But later, they got the feedback that you haven't helped anyone. So they started with a new process when they were developing the Sustainable Development Goals, which Kingsley mentioned. And I remember Kingsley was part of the process in Ghana here when we were building consensus on the world that we want. According to Ghanaians, we went around the country to listen to people because we know people matter. And that is the same process that Chairman has approved for us to use to ensure that everyone is part of the process. We also know from planning that we plan with people, we don't plan for them. If you plan for them, consider it as your plan, not for them, and they will implement. but if you plan with them, they are committed. That is why we want to get you involved, so that you will be committed to the process that you have been part of preparing. And we are also working with this slogan that dream it, the future of Ghana, dream it, plan it, live it. As for the future, whether we like it or not, it will come. But we should face the future well prepared. We should face the future first by getting a dream and translating that dream into a vision. We plan it, and then we can live the kind of wealth, the kind of Ghana that we want to live in. Now, Chair, Honorable Chair, the process so far that has been adopted by the Planning Commission has yielded some results. We first started by building consensus among the living past presidents of the Republic, and they all endorsed the process. They gave us the go-ahead. They all were happy to see that NDPC has initiated such a participative process of designing the future for Ghanaians and by Ghanaians. Aside from that, we also went to the political parties to share this vision or this dream with them. Even the dream, the preparation of the long-term plan first started as a dream. And so that dream was shared among the political parties. And Chair, all the political parties that we visited 6 of them, their head offices. 6 was selected because of, we used a major criterion to determine who should be part of it. And the main criterion was those who participated in the 2012 general elections. So the 6 political parties were visited, their head offices, and they all agreed that this is a good enterprise and that they will support. We don't have much time. I would have shown you videos of the political parties, video clips of what they said when we visited them and what they have been saying when we went around the country to build consensus on the future that we want. And so far, each of the 6 political parties have given us 2 experts who are development planning experts or policy experts to be with us as we went around the country and as we build this national consensus on the future that we want. We've been to all the 10 regions, regional capitals, where we assembled stakeholders from the districts. The stakeholders from the districts comprised those from the public sector, private sector, civil society, and people on the street, individuals. Later on, I can show you some video clips of those who participated in the process and what they said. We have also had extensive consultations with public sector organizations, ministries, departments, and agencies to discuss the way they understand the current challenges and opportunities available to us as a nation to change our destiny, to transform our nation. So we did that over a period of 6 weeks, where we had time for every ministry and their agencies to discuss the future of Ghana. We also met with civil society organizations, private sector organizations, think tanks, also at the Accra International Conference Center, to discuss the future of Ghana. And we had simple questions. Where are we as a nation? Are we happy with where we are? And could we have been better than what we are seeing for ourselves? If so, what is the future that we want? So we asked 3 questions. Where are we? Where should we be? Especially by the year 2057, when Ghana will be celebrating 100 years after independence. They shared with us. And then we didn't end there. We asked them to also share with us, based on their experiences, their exposure, their expertise, what needs to be done, what is essential for Ghana to move from where we are now to our dreamland, future that we want. Honorable Chair, just some video clips, short ones. I'm conscious of the fact that I have 15 minutes, and 15 minutes, I'm very sorry about that. Chair, forgive me. Okay. Now, I have 15 minutes, and I had to strategize. I had to plan how to make the presentation because I have a lot to share. just like this information age, you have so much data, but how to manage it. So what I've done is that I have divided the time into two. 8 minutes to show some 3 video clips, total 8 minutes, and then 7 minutes for presentation. Because I learned that I've been in academia. One thing I learned is that people forget when they hear alone. And so when they see, sometimes they remember. But when they do, when you give them assignment, they understand it better. But now the assignment will be a take-home assignment. But for now, I will show you certain things so that when you go back, there will be some pictures to show and to share with your colleagues, since not all of us were able to come here. Now, please.
Ghana in the next 40 years should not be a place where we are talking about bringing in power badges from abroad to come and produce electricity for us. We should talk about Ghana where one of our sources of revenue is exporting electricity to the whole of West Africa.
In order to actualize all this, there is the need for us to plan, since all these cannot be achieved by chance. It therefore requires the participation.
All right. The IT.
Ghana in the next 40 years should not be a place where we are talking about bringing in power badges from abroad to come and produce electricity for us. We should talk about Ghana where one of our sources of revenue is exporting electricity to the whole of West Africa.
In order to actualize all this, there is the need for us to plan, since all these cannot be achieved by chance. It therefore requires the participation and commitment of the various stakeholders of the economy to ensure that the plan will be adhered to, devoid of politicization, and irrespective of which political party is in power at any point in time.
I want to see Ghana in the next 40 years where everybody, irrespective of the class you are, getting easy access to quality
Ghana in the next 40 years should not be a place where we are talking about bringing in power badges from abroad to come and produce electricity for us. We should talk about Ghana where one of our sources of revenue is exporting electricity to the whole of West Africa.
In order to actualize all this, there is the need for us to plan, since all these cannot be achieved by chance. It therefore requires the participation and commitment of the various stakeholders of the economy to ensure that the plan will be adhered to, devoid of politicization, and irrespective of which political party is in power at any point in time.
I want to see Ghana in the next 40 years where everybody, irrespective of the class you are, getting easy access to quality and affordable healthcare service.
Decentralization must become a reality. Documents must not all be sent to the country's capital to be processed before any work can commence. It is not surprising to find most government workers who have not been paid for years due to the delay in the processing of documents. So I ask, why can't we have the local authorities processing these documents? In a nutshell, we need people who show the qualities of respect for all, integrity, and above all, the fear of the Lord. Thank you.
Our vision for the next 40 years of Ghana is a person.
No evidence that we indeed went around the country to listen to what people have to say.
Ghana in the next 40 years should not be a place where we are
Prosperous nation where every citizen is free, law-abiding, educated, healthy, gainfully employed, decently housed, and places the national interest above all personal considerations.
For us to be developed economically, I think we need to industrialize, because that is the bedrock of every country. In order for it to be economically strong, it should not be that.
Go to the next slide. Quickly. Yes, please go ahead.
Said that the disabled are suffering so much, and we want the government and other people to support them so that in the future
What you're observing is a presentation with someone with a disability, a PWD. And we made sure that we included everyone. We did not want to leave anyone behind. So the first clip showed the youth, how they made their presentation.
said that
And this one is showing how
the
people
disabled are suffering so much,
made their presentation. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
and we want the government and other people to support them so that in the future they can also work and make a living. Now, when the deaf or the disabled finish school, to obtain work is difficult. Meanwhile, we have also studied subjects that other people studied, but sometimes we don't get the jobs. So we want everybody to think well about us, because we can also do it.
Education, ensuring that the learning environment is safe and friendly, where all data shall be covered for students with visual impairment and physically challenged to have access to learning the environment.
Every child in Ghana, rich or poor, able-bodied or disabled, deserves good education. Any attempt at developing the country in the future must also be an attempt at transforming the knowledge and skill based on the youth. More priority should be given technical education.
It is a participatory process, a participative process with all involved. We are not leaving anyone behind. Honorable Chair, earlier speakers have explained, including your own presentation, why we need this long-term development plan. So I won't spend much time with it, but I want to emphasize on the fourth one, the demographic imperative. At independence, the population of Ghana was just about 6 million. Now, the population is not the same. It has changed. It keeps on increasing, but the land size remains the same. Then what should we do? If the population keeps on increasing, the size of the land is the same, and the resources are even dwindling, our water resources, and in land for agriculture, we are losing much land, arable lands, to human settlement development. So if things are going to go this way without planning, what is the future going to be? And that is why, as the chairman emphasized, because of the increasing population, vis-a-vis dwindling resources and the same size land area of Ghana, we need to effectively plan how the future is going to be for us. This is just showing you some of the population figures. You saw the population around 1960 was 6.7 million. and we are anticipating that by the year 2057, the population would have increased to about 50 million, about 50 million. So things will not be the same as they are now, and therefore we need to plan the way the future should be. And aside from the fact that the population is increasing, we are also observing this phenomenon where more and more people are living in urban areas. Urban life is not the same as living in the rural area where everyone knows your father's name or your mother's name. And for that matter, you would comport because you know someone will report you to your father. Now, many people are going to live in urban areas where you don't even know the chief of the area. So things are changing, and we need to plan so that we can live in a better Ghana than what we came to meet. Now, Chair, since you want people here to also become advocates and participate in this process, they need to understand certain things. Questions that we started getting when we started this process. One of them was the fact that people were worried that parties engage the public based on their manifestos. And we're also talking about a long-term plan. So what would that mean for them? Is it not going to tie the hands with the political parties? And the answer is that no, it's not going to tie their hands. What is going to happen is that the NDPC is preparing a framework document, and the details which will form the basis for their budget will come from those in government. And that is usually the case because the Constitution has also assigned them some responsibilities. One thing that this can also help is that there will be continuity in development policy in this nation. There will be stability in development policy. Then what kind of plan is it? As I've explained, some people call it a vision. Normally, when you have a long-term plan, just like when you are seeing things from afar, you cannot see the details. You can only see images when it's far away. But when it gets closer, you can see the fine details. So as a 40-year long-term plan is intrinsically a vision, a framework. And this, as explained by the chairman, is going to be implemented in slices of 4 years, 4 years, 4 years. So the 40-year period will have 4-year medium-term plans that will give the details, because 4 years is closer enough for you to be able to define the details. Now, the advantages of having a long-term plan, already the chairman has explained some of these, but we believe that it inspires the people to rise to their fullest national potential. Remember, I don't know whether the chaplain is here, but in the Bible it's also said that my people perish for lack of a vision. So vision is always something which is necessary for a group of people to coordinate their activities and also to be able to have a basis for living. Normally, people who will commit suicide are people who think that they don't have a future. But for those who have a future, it gives energy. It gives a basis for living, and that is what we want to have for ourselves. It also fosters a collective sense of urgency. It provides an ideal destination towards which a nation works purposefully, and many other reasons why long-term plan is important. But it is no guarantee of success. That must come from the commitment and hard work of the people. So it means that the development of the future of Ghana will depend on the people themselves. Because as for the environment, it's going to be passive, but whether it will change or not will depend on our attitude and our behavior. What is in a name? The same long-term and perspective plan, countries have given them different names. Some call it long-term plan, some say long-range economic plan, some call it national vision, some long-term perspective, some transformational agenda. But we have adopted long-term plan because the Constitution Review Commission and also some of the legal documents in the country mention long-term plan. So that becomes a word that we can associate with. But in fact, it is also a vision, and it's also a long-term perspective plan. Is Ghana the only country that is thinking long-term or thinking of 40 years or more? No. A number of countries have already started that. I remember Kingsley also talked about AU's Agenda 2063. African Union Commission has already started thinking about a 50-year vision for Africa. Other countries have done the same. New Zealand has a 30-year infrastructure plan. Qatar has a Vision 2030. And indeed, so many other countries have long-term plans or perspective plans. The chairman also indicated that one university, for instance, has already crafted a 100-year research program. That means they are thinking far ahead of time. I remember I read a document about how Americans got people on the moon. It was one of the vision of one of the presidents. He had a long-term vision to send men and women to the moon and come back alive. So he tasked his engineers, his scientists to work towards that. They had a vision, and they were able to accomplish that, even in less than no time. They got it. They got men there earlier than they expected. How many minutes left? Let's go to some. Let's see. Chair, because of time, I'll just show two video clips, and with your permission, I'll end. This is the kind of special development that we think we deserve as a nation compared to living in slums. Now, we are also taking inspiration from some other people. This is something that my Director General loves so much, from Muhammad Ali. He says, if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. Now, let's look at some of the images that we've started thinking of. Please move to the next video clip. That shows the kind of railway stations that we think we deserve as a nation compared to what exists now. Coordination. Please forgive me. Please move to the railway. Chair, just a second. Yes. All right. So these are some of the images that you started thinking of a railway station. Okay, move to the next one. Okay. 5 minutes left. Move to the next one. Next slide. Chair, we have images of the future, but because of time and the uncoordinated intervention, I will move straight to what we expect of the youth as we unfold the roadmap for a better life for Ghanaians. Now, so far, Honorable Chair, from our consultations, 5 goals have emerged. And the first goal is to build an industrialized, inclusive, and resilient economy. And the second one is to create an equitable, healthy, and disciplined society. The next is to build safe, well-planned, and sustainable communities. Goal 4 is to build effective, efficient, and dynamic institutions for development. And the 5th one is strengthen Ghana's role in international affairs. Now, for Goal 2, which concerns equitable, healthy, and disciplined society, some of the areas that we are thinking of include education, training, and lifelong learning, health and health services, food and nutrition, water and sanitation, and it continues. So many other areas that we need to consider. All right. Now, we believe that for this to be accomplished, there are some reforms that are necessary. One of them is policy reforms, legislative and legal reforms, and then institutional reforms. Some of the immediate challenges that we need to address will include land, competition law, consumer protection law, and others. So, what is expected of the youth of Ghana as we participate in this process? We believe that the youth of Ghana, after listening to the chairman and all the interventions, are going to develop active interest and participate effectively in the process of dreaming and planning the future we want. We expect the youth to express their dreams, their visions, and their aspirations. We have made opportunities available to you, as you are going to see very soon, for you to share your understanding of our current situation, what you like, what you think can be changed, and why, and then to share with us your dream of Ghana and the kind of become an advocate of change. And to be able to become an advocate of change, we need to first start with ourselves. We need to change our mindset. We believe that we also have a personal vision, personal dream as we think of the future of Ghana. I want to end by saying that we should all get involved. We should all be part of the history transforming Ghana. Our generation, we want Ghana to be said as first
Thank Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Time is due for the keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we welcome Dr. Fred Mark Bagonluri. Welcome. I hope I got the name right.
Yes, you did.
All right, thank you.
No one gets to be left behind. Great team. Mr. Chairman, Director General of Ghana Education Service, Chief Director, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister for Education, Mr. Ablakwa, my in-law that I'm still expecting the cola from. Mr. Chairman, one of my favorite people, I actually learned the word pontification from you when I was in high school. Thank you all for the opportunity to participate in the launch of the Ghana Youth Program. It's always exciting to be part of programs that focus on the youth. I am greatly honored to be here on behalf of Dr. Patrick Ewua, President of Ashesi University, who is unable to be present due to prior commitments. He sends his regrets and best wishes for a successful launch. Mr. Chairman, I own a book entitled The Shape of Life by a gentleman called Rudolph Raff. I've owned this book since I was a sophomore in college. From time to time, I revisit it, and each time I gain a new perspective. But what is most interesting about this book is an epigram culled from a book called Kamongo by an American physiologist, Thomas Smith. And I read, long fish. 400 years ago, they were the cream of life, lords of creation, pioneers in a new way of living, escaping the threat of death that lurks in droughts, stagnant pools, poisoned waters, through breathing air by means of their newly invented lungs. But they have remained almost unchanged through the ages, carrying on in the old way of living. Life has gone around them, leaving them behind. This quote captures the essence of what we seek to achieve here today, to prevent our future from the same fate that befell the lungfish. Every society must evolve and re-architect its future. The youth of this country represent that future, and we should not make them the lungfish in Kamongo. We cannot afford to let life go around them, leaving them behind. History is full of examples of empires that simply disappeared because they stood by as the world evolved. The euphoria of hope that the youth of our country anticipate is best captured by a quote from a famous Italian author, Calvino. When you are young, all evolution lies before you. Every road is open to you. And at the same time, you can enjoy the fact of being on the rock, damp and happy. If you compare yourself with the limitations that come afterwards, if you think of how having one form excludes other forms, of the monotonous routine where you finally feel trapped, well, I don't mind saying life was beautiful in those days. There is no greater wish than the one that would bequeath the youth of this country with opportunities that in time and in retrospect would make them say, life was beautiful in those days. Or perhaps life is good right now. So what are the challenges confronting the youth of today? According to Top 10, the top 4 issues confronting youth today are erosion of national pride and identity, poverty, shifting economy, educational disparity. I would like to focus on education since it's the denominator for all the other issues that the youth care about. Our youth deserve education, good quality education, the kind that would make them locally successful and globally competitive, one that is not rooted in rote memorization, but one that fosters critical thinking, strong leadership disposition, and problem-solving skills. They want jobs and opportunities for career advancement. They seek entrepreneurial opportunities and an enabling ecosystem. They want peace and tolerance. In fact, they want the world if they could achieve that. How could we help them achieve this future? 20 years ago, as a biology student at St. Augustine's College in Cape Coast, no engineering program in Ghana then would have been willing to accept me because of a decision I made when I was 14 years old as to what course I would study in high school. Our policy system in Ghana put me in a box and immediately decided what I could and could not do or become. If I had stayed in Ghana, I would probably never have become an engineer. The very country that granted me the scholarship to study engineering abroad would not have allowed me to be admitted into any engineering program here at home. But in the US, my biology was no restraint. And in my class, there were many people who had many diverse educational backgrounds. So I became an engineer, and my contributions to industry are widely available in public domain. Mr. Chairman, my experiences reinforced for me the need to establish a sustainable and effective educational ecosystem that vests the youth with opportunities to thrive. We need to refocus our educational institutions and commit them to embracing, adapting, and integrating rapid changes in the world around us in terms of knowledge development and innovation. We need to develop inventive minds that do not accept the status quo as norm or as comfort, but as a platform to innovate the future. Where diversity of ideas and rapid advances in innovation psychology and leadership empowers rather than immobilizes our national aspirations. Our youth want educations of higher learnings that are aligned with the best global practices and create an environment that encourages them to aspire to be their ultimate best. Our youth, you the youth, aspires for ecosystems where you can thrive uninhibited and free from any forms of exploitation, implicit or otherwise, and the unspoken pressures to yield personal dignities for marginal advancement. An ecosystem that is informed by different perspectives, philosophies, approaches, all working together in fairness. Mr. Chairman, our youth need new inputs and measurable outputs in the form of great careers, innovative entrepreneurship, new product development, and market growth, all part of the long-term strategy of the National Development Planning Commission. Mr. Chairman, our youth deserve an educational system where research translates to practical existence. They deserve an educated society in which citizens understand the relationship between health and the environment. One in which leadership is considered service. One in which our roads are designed and built by patriotic citizens committed to common outcomes. One in which potholes only exist in our memories and not as artifacts of Ghana's 21st century road construction engineering. Mr. Chairman, our youth deserve a future in which they can decide to become a carpenter today and a medical doctor tomorrow, manage a waste recycling business today and become a lawyer tomorrow. They want a future where they can rise like I did from Lavaleshi, Nandom, Jamestown, Nima, Shama, Ketu, and become president of a free nation. That is the future of this country that the youth deserves. Mr. Chairman, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, in an address at the University of Pennsylvania on September 20th, 1940, exactly 76 years today, said, "We cannot always build a future for our youth, but we can always build our youth for the future," end quote. Mr. Chairman, at Ashasi University College, that is what we strive every day to achieve. To empower the youth for the future, we seek to train our students in the processes of knowledge acquisition and the ability to use that knowledge to solve problems so that they can become the right citizens and the right leaders for our society. Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the table, in the summer of 2015, I had a stark choice to make. A lucrative offer from Abbott Labs, one of the top biomedical research labs in the United States, as a divisional head of research and development, with significantly higher remuneration and corporate perks, versus the role as founding dean at a small liberal arts institution in Ghana, Ashasi. It was not an easy decision, but in the end, I chose the latter. I chose the latter because I bought into its vision. It was a vision for an African educational renaissance. I saw an opportunity to help develop a new and thriving intellectual ecosystem that will move the needle forward for our national development aspirations. Like most Ghanaians in the diaspora, my bags were always packed, ready to come home. The time, however, was never right until Ashasi came into the picture. That, to me, is what having a strong vision can do. It allows you to galvanize people towards achieving a cause, making change, and influencing lives. The vision I bought into is one that, paraphrasing Rudolph Ruff again, eliminates developmental constraints, renews intellectual connectivity, adapts new approaches to traverse the past into a new future, and accepts that duplication alone is not enough, but the divergence of philosophies will sustain an innovative culture and ultimately co-op our country for the future. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, students, the youth of the future, whatever decisions we make here today and beyond must be able to inspire the youth, just like Ashasi's vision inspired me. The decisions made must present a vision to move our youth forward and achieve outcomes reflective of their aspirations. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we must help the youth of this country build the future they deserve. We must not fail. To be precise, we cannot afford to fail. We must not let them sing from Calvino's T0, and quote, "We had to work things out for ourselves. Some of us will go farther. Some will remain where they were, and some didn't manage to survive. The choices had to be made from a limited number of possibilities," end quote. We must make available limitless possibilities for our youth, and we have to ensure that nobody is left behind. Thank Thank you.
You still have some minutes to deal with. Thanks a lot for keeping it short for us. At this moment, if you have any question, feel free. This is the time to ask. If it's a clarification to our dignitaries here are, ready to respond. So feel free, raise up your hand. I call you, then you ask. Right. So make it snappy and mention your name, the institution you're coming
Good morning, everybody. My name is Akosue Japon. I'm from the Youth Action Movement, Youth Volunteer Wing of Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana. Okay. I said, good morning. My name is Akosua Ejapon from Youth Action Movement, Youth Volunteer Wing of PPAG, Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana. I'll tell a very, very, very short story. My little brother is about 13, 14. And in school, when I went to pick him once from school, I was told that he doesn't learn. He is very bad at his books. He is not smart. Why is he not like you? Because when I was in school, I was at the top of my class, and so was my other brother. But then this little boy draws better than any of us. He plays football like nobody's business. He likes creative arts. He's into that section. He can draw anything you ask him to draw. But then to our education system, he is a failure. He is not intelligent enough. So my question is, beyond the beautiful model schools that we saw in that presentation, to beautify Ghana and to give us better schools with big computers to sit in and learn, what is being done to change the existing education system, to take away rote memorization and learning, to ensure that people like my little brother is still considered intelligent if he is not able to memorize his ABCs? Thank you.
Thank you too. Second question. To the gentleman first.
My name is Emmanuel Clifford Jichian, and I'm from Youth Advocate Ghana, and also a youth champion for Voice Africa's Future. My question is, I couldn't see. We know that previous plans have failed due to lack of continuity, and the reason is that going forward, I want us to. This plan is having a legal background or a legal backing, so that was not also captured in there. So I want to ask, what is the significance, or what is it going to see, so that the plan will be materialized?
My name is Ernestine Fabwatima. I'm a youth power with Voice Africa's Future, and I work with Youth Advocate Ghana too. Please, my question is kind of like a suggestion to. I've realized and I have experienced it too. Whenever the secondary school, they are being enrolled, like after GHS, when they are being admitted into secondary school, they are being asked to buy hose and cutlasses. That I don't get it, because the agriculture sector, the farmers, they need those things. But because the secondary schools, they are being asked to buy those things, by the time the farmer gets to the market, he wouldn't get any cutlass for the farm. So I'm suggesting that maybe 10 Ghana cities or an amount should be taken from each of the students, because if you are to calculate the number of students who are being admitted, and there are 10 Ghana cities, it can really buy
some number of holes. And the thing is, the ones that are already being taken from the students, they are kept in storerooms. They are just there. You don't know what they are using it for. So I'm just suggesting. It's very worrying. Thank you.
All right, thank you. When you spoke in favor of the students, then they applauded. When you mentioned the 10 Ghana cities, then faces begin, as in started changing. That's students for you. I want to hear from you too. If you have a question, this is the time to ask. Someone raised up.
Good afternoon. I'm Mensa Emmanuel from the Accra Academy. Most of the time, you see some of our graduates from the universities. Okay. They join these groups, maybe, I don't know their name, they call them youth unemployment, the groups. They said they are not employed, but they pay dues. Where do they get the money to pay those dues? So I'm asking if this long-term planning thing can do something to help those graduate, the youth, to turn their minds from joining, instead of joining those groups, find something useful to do with their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we hear from our dignitaries? Response to their questions.
All right, so I think I will touch on the first one where the gentleman definitely has some learning challenges. Um, so you've all heard repeatedly, nobody gets left behind. When I was in school, I was very, very poor in mathematics. So poor that the word mathematics used to immobilize me. And today I have a PhD in engineering. So that also showed that the environment that I was placed in was the wrong environment. So sometimes for that young man, perhaps a change in school could help. If that doesn't help, our educational system should be flexible enough to have a room for people that obviously have learning challenges, but they are good in certain things, to be trained as technical people, to be trained to become independent, productive people. I mean, we don't all have to have PhDs, right? We don't. So why don't we sit down, look at this national long-term plan and say, where do we want to go as a nation? Don't worry about what the Malaysians have done. Learn from them. If there are good things there, pick it up. Learn from what the Americans have. But what do we want 40 years from today to look for Ghana? And if we start from that angle, then we can go and look at education somewhere and say, these guys have the excellent education system. We should adapt aspects of it. Because sometimes just adapting something from other people that is not informed by your cultural perspectives are very difficult to integrate in a setting for which it was not designed for. So I think we should have specialized schools. I mean, my daughter has speech problems, and for many, many years, she went to a school where she could be taught to pronounce simple words like cars. Some of these kids are geniuses, okay? What she's telling us right now is probably we have a Leonardo da Vinci in the making. But in our educational system, for him to become that Leonardo da Vinci, he has to pass mathematics. He has to pass physics. He has to pass geography. But then it's okay if he becomes a Kaya Yoe. So why don't we give him an environment where he can develop his learning skills to the point that he can be the best Leonardo da Vinci in the world without having to do calculus or physics?
Okay. I think you talk about rote memorization. If you happen to have a look at all the preamble of our syllabuses, and I'm talking about the official curriculum, we have said that teachers should engage their classes with participatory pedagogy, and we denounce rote memorization as much as possible. I think we need to train our teachers more to be able to engage in that pedagogy. But when we talk to our teachers why it's becoming increasingly difficult for them to engage children in participatory pedagogy, project-based learning, which involves a lot of activities. Some of the challenges they talk about class size, and they talk about the tendency of completing the curriculum. And I think moving forward, these are some of the things that we have to look at when we are developing the curriculum. We're also thinking of moving forward, coming out with differentiated curriculum, as many countries like Singapore practice, to take off the gifted and the talented, to give them special curriculum which they need to be able to identify and be able to develop their talents to harness their potentials for nation building. So these are some of the things that we are looking at moving forward 40 years to come. Thank you. Within the period. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to respond to two issues that have come up. First one on the question of creativity. Your junior brother and your concern that perhaps our educational system is the problem. Because a teacher passed a comment that why is your brother not smart like you or like your other brother? We need to put the issue in proper perspective. I think that the comment that that teacher made is unfortunate. That's where I will proceed from. That comment is unfortunate. The child is very talented in an area that to that teacher, he or she does not find that area to be an area that requires a lot of talent, a lot of intellect. And she's wrong. He is wrong. So I do not think that the problem is with our educational system, because I know that if you look at our subjects at the primary school level, we have BT, right? And that's supposed to be a subject for children who are showing extraordinary interest and talent in the creative arts. When you move on to the second cycle level, when you transition to the second cycle level, there is a whole course for your brother called visual arts. So the subjects that are, or the courses that are offered in our secondary schools, you know of general science, you know of business, you know of general arts, you know of agriculture, which we have all discovered this morning that is not very popular because you don't want to use hoes and cutlasses. And perhaps that may explain why agriculture is not doing too well when we disaggregate GDP growth. But back to the courses being offered at the second cycle level. You have visual arts there, where your brother can take that course up and become the Leonardo da Vinci that our lecturer talks about. So the opportunities exist. Can we improve? Yes. Can we get a bit more less stringent and be more flexible? I think we can. And as a government, we've been working on that. You heard 2 years ago that we announced the new BEC Reset program. Hitherto, BEC was a one-off firing squad, and you fail it, and that's it. You don't have another opportunity. But we said no. The West Africa Examination Council has to do something about that. So we asked them to look at that, and they agreed. And for the first time, we've had 2 batches already, and there are 2,599 candidates. Some who had to resit, and some who fell out of the school system, and so had to come back and be formalized and take the BEC exams. So we are achieving some flexibility there. In other jurisdictions, we know that you can begin as an art student, for example, do general arts in Accra Academy where we are. When you discover that perhaps your forte is medicine or engineering, you can then change course and go on a program that will make you a doctor or an engineer in the university. So we are looking at some of those extreme, cases of flexibility that gives you that opportunity. Of course, we also need to strengthen career placement and guidance. Counseling and guidance has been a challenge in our country. And only a few months ago, working with our partners in civil society, we launched a program to strengthen counseling and career guidance so that, and we all need that. Teachers who make such comments need it. Parents need it. Let's face it, in our country, where we are now, if your child is very brilliant, gets all the A's, he or she must be a doctor or must only be good for the sciences. We look down on other programs. We think that other programs are a reserve for those who are not exceptionally brilliant. So, my child is so brilliant, he must certainly offer science or business. And then we begin to look down on the others. General arts. As for visual arts, home economics, we really look down on them. And we think that visual arts, home economics are for those who are not. But look at the hospitality industry. Look at how it's booming. Look at the celebrated chefs all over the world. We all want to, be entertained by, the best chefs, the best hoteliers, restaurant operators and all of that when we have good money to spend. But who should render those services and who should have expertise in those areas? So I think there's also a mindset issue that we must work on. The president has been talking about rebranding TVET, Technical Vocational Education. That is another area where we think that is a reserve for those who are not, who are not good, who have not been blessed by God. They have some deficit. But it's not the case. In other countries, your TVET students are some of the brightest. They are even better paid. We went to Germany. We found out that TVET students, those who engage in technical vocational education, they are better paid than even degree holders. They are more sought after by the job market because they can do. They have skills, and they are driving the German economy. So we also have mindset issues that we need to work on, and not necessarily putting the entire blame on the educational system. So I thought that I respond to that issue within this context. Then there was a second concern about perhaps an appeal that we should ask all our headmasters and headmistresses to stop putting on the brochure when you are a freshman and freshwoman coming to secondary school that bring a hoe and a cutlass. We all took hoes and cutlasses to school. And this is the first time I'm hearing that that is leading to short supply. And so farmers are concerned. I don't know if the farmers ask you to speak on their behalf. But we may have to check the market, whether really this is causing shortage of hoes and cutlasses. It's good to know how to use the hoe and know how to use the cutlass. It is very, very good. And not only the hoe and the cutlass, but how to use the shovel, how to use the hammer, how to use the spanner, how to use so many other tools. You are being educated. And part of the reason why you are in school is that you are here to learn other experiences, to learn other skills. And so don't see bringing hoes and cutlasses to school as punishment. You want to learn how to keep your environment clean. You are going to be adults very soon. You build your houses. Are you always going to engage extra hands if there are some small weeds or some small landscaping work you need to do? Do you always have to engage extra hands, somebody who will come weed your compound, who will come help you to keep your lawns and all of that? Sometimes you can do it yourself. You can take it up as a hobby, and you find out that it will serve you well. You know, it's an area that you can even decide to branch into, setting up a business and going around and helping keep, you know, people's lawns clean and all of that. You can employ others. So see it within a broader context. Nobody wants to punish you, but we want you to acquire other skills, other experiences, to know how to take care of your environment, to take care of yourself. That is how you should see it. And by the way, the future we want to see, the next 40 years, we want to move away from the hoe and cutlass agriculture and mechanize agriculture, so that this subsistence farming, you know, whole cutlass agriculture, which will not really help us to attain food security, we will move away from there. And then we can have more hoes and cutlasses on the market for future students who will come into secondary school after you have left Accra Academy and Presec and Wesley Grammar and Agri Memorial and the others. So it's good to know how to use more tools apart from just the pen, the computer, the laptop. You should learn how to use a lot more tools. You'll find out that it will help you and it will serve you well. So that's I think
Thank you.
for us. There are two more issues with the legal backing for the plan, and then the unemployment association. I don't know who will take that. Maybe Professor will take that. Okay.
And just to add a little bit to what Ablakwa said, sorry, what's the name again? Akosia. We must also remember that apart from what Ablakwa has said, the market itself, it does indicate to you where your fortunes may very well be. So, for instance, Asamoah a noble of this school, it just so happens that he makes more money a week as a footballer than many a professor, I suspect, in these campuses. So that's all to say that as you worry about what parents are saying and so on, you must also be looking at the market to see what demands are being driven. When we were in school, I think that people who did even computer science initially at Tech, we didn't take them seriously. We thought, well, if you're brilliant, then you did, phi mama is what they call it, physics, math, and did your science and so on, went on to become a great professor and so on. But today, they are in great demand. So apart from restructuring our own systems to ensure that we are tailoring our education to meet our needs as a nation, the market does its own thing as well, and therefore its calculations we must bear in mind. I was going to ask Dr. Mensah Bonsu to deal with the legal matters, but since I'm here and he's down there, I thought I might as well do that. Yes, the NDPC's functions themselves are anchored in law, in Articles 86 and 87 of the Constitution itself. And then also in our enabling act, the NDPC Act, Act 479, and the NDPC System Act, Act 480. So they are all there. Now, but the best thing you can do to ascertain to get to understand our functions and so on, and also to understand everything that we have done and said about the plan, including the national consultations we conducted and so on, snippets of which you saw in the pictorials that were displayed, would be to go to our website. Is it up? Just visit our website. Everything is there. I invite you to visit it. It must be the beginning of your own consultative process. Thank you.
Thank you. We are done with the first batch of questions. If you have a contribution to make, questions to ask, this is the time. Those things, I'm right here for you. Make it.
Good morning. I'm Ivan Okai from Amasamai Senior High School. My question is, in Ghana here, I've realized that whenever any political party is in power, they try to implement their plans. They bring their own plans, which is when they come in the whole of the year, they are trying to fulfill the promise they made to the people of Ghana. So what are the efforts that has been made towards the sense they won't come and just go by the plan or try to work towards the plan? What are the efforts that has been made towards that? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. Before I come to you, let me quickly see to our students here.
My name is Jennifer Gabra, and I'm from Agri Memorial Senior High School. I'm very happy that when the deputy commented on looking down on some courses in the senior high school. I'm a home economics student, and I have realized that other courses have a lot of programs to offer in the university compared to the home economics students and the visual arts students. I have researched and find out that the home economics students can only offer the family care and consumer sciences in the university. We all do the core subjects. We do some of the other courses that get a lot of programs to do in the university. They are electives. So I wanted to know why our programs are limited in the university.
Right. Thank you.
Yep. My name is Hyanti Pascal Prince. I'm from Bato Senior High School. Please, my question is, I'm a boy of 18 years old. And then I know that my future is not about education. Yes. But I've been seeing Honorable Ablakwa driving in a big tundra all along. And also, I want to be like him, but I know, no. He has made it through book, but for me, I can't. So, but as I look around, there is no other alternative but to make it through book. And the book too, my parents, the teachers, they know that for me, like, nothing at all. So what am I to do? What am I to do? Since it seems there is no other work to do but to go through education. Because everything, this modern Ghana is about education. What are we doing about it?
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, my name is Nana Ajiman Prempe, and I am an author, a youth and graduate empowerment advocate. I have a book titled Graduate 360 coming up tomorrow for launching here, this very hall at 10 a.m. So I'm taking this opportunity to make it known. My question is, it appears that the talent development has become more of a peripheral education in our system. What is the short term plan by the NDPC to bring it into mainstream education? Because Dr. Frimpong mentioned a youth program for the long term, and Madam also mentioned something in the terms of 40 years. But I want to find out what is the short term, within the very short term, how are we bringing talent development into our mainstream education? Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
I'm Dodi Admakwa, the list for the Ghana Senior High School Koforidua. Please, I want to ask. Before I ask, I'll make a statement before I ask. I'm a science student and I offer biology, chemistry, physics, and e-math. Why is this so necessary for me at this age? I'm 18 years to offer all these subjects before I go to the university. Why is it not that before I enter into the senior high school, I just maybe take one of my electives and do it mainly so that when I move to the tertiary institution, I can just go further and do maybe engineering, medicine, or any other course? Why is it so necessary for me to do all the four elective subjects?
Thank you very much. I'll be coming back, so just relax. Let's go to have responses for our questions. I'll be coming back shortly. Why is it so necessary? So please, we are done with the questions. You can take it over from here.
Okay, so I'll start. The first question targeted to me has to do with home economics and the opportunities available to you. By the way, you are a student of my wife's school, so I'm very happy. Yeah, my wife was in Agri Memorial, so I'm happy to see the Agri Memorial students. Without you, I wouldn't have had a wife. So, uh, so for home economics, just like all the other non-science programs, the same opportunities are available to you. So it is not exactly accurate that offering home economics, you can only go to the university and offer family courses or limited programs in the hospitality industry. It's not the case. You can offer law, you can offer business if you want to go to the School of Administration at University of Ghana, you are eligible. You are eligible to offer accounting, sociology, political science, history, name them. So the same opportunities available to all the non-science students, that is business students, general arts students, visual arts students, is available to you. It is only the science students. For the science students, they have more opportunities. You can still pursue your science-related programs, that's medicine, engineering, and then you can also branch into the arts. So the science students have more advantage over the non-science students. But for the non-science students, the same opportunities are available for you. So please correct that impression. If you want to branch to law, to business, accounting, history, political science, what have you, you can branch successfully and you have no difficulty. Just make sure that your grades are strong. That's all you need. You need very good grades. The more the A's, the better, as you know, and that makes you puts you in a good position. Actually, on that score, it can be said, it is the view that general arts, visual arts, home economics are not that difficult as compared to business and science. That's the general belief. So if you take that route and you get more A's, you put yourself in better position. You are in better stead to have more opportunities available to you at the university than those who were pursuing the so-called difficult programs. My view, personal, and that's my personal view, is that there is no difficult subject, there's no easy subject. It's about you, your interest, discovering yourself. You have to discover yourself. Some people find elective mathematics so easy. And I've been getting a lot of results. Parents come to our office every day with results. You find science students who have obtained A's in physics, chemistry, and yet when it came to social studies, English, they were struggling with a C, D7, and so they couldn't even transition to the next level. So it's really about you discovering yourself and knowing where your interests lie. Then there was a question from my friend who must know me very well because yes, I do drive a Toyota Tundra to the constituency. That's my campaign vehicle. So you must have been seeing me on my Aveime route when I'm going to Northtown. And you are saying that you don't think book is for you, but you didn't tell us what is for you, what you think is for you. But let's understand something. We want to create a literate society. We have a target of achieving 100% literacy. So we don't expect everybody to become a professor like Professor Kwesi Boche, whose IQ is so high up there. And we have to continue to pray to God to probably get a quarter of that, or my senior brother-in-law, who is a PhD. We don't expect everybody to get there. And no society expects that. Professors in every country are less than 1% of the population. Actually, the average in the most advanced countries, those who attain first degree, is just about 30% of the population. Ghana is doing about 17% who get to the university to receive a first degree. So not everybody is expected to get a second degree, a PhD, and all of that. But we want you to be able to read and write. That's all. Be able to read and write, to be able to understand your environment. Can you imagine the way the world is now? You can't read and write. You can't even drive. I mean, you can't understand street signs. You buy gadgets, you can't fix them because you can't read the manual. So just for you to be a useful citizen, to be functional, to be useful to yourself and to society. So we don't expect everybody to become a professor. That's the point I'm making. However, you are saying that you don't think that your forte is academics. What is your forte? You have to discover yourself. And that is why inbuilt within our educational system, we have PE, for example, we have physical education. We encourage extracurricular activities. So we have clubs, we have societies, and all of that. So still discover yourself. Find out what you think you can become. And you realize that even those who decide to take up other careers, for example, in sports, the very successful athletes these days are those who are educated, who at least have some basic ability to read, write, to understand agreements and all of that. So agents don't take advantage of them. I encourage you to listen to the story of people like Odate Lamte. He's told that story many times. Pele himself, the real original Pele, described Odate Lamte as perhaps the next Pele, guy with a great potential, to be the biggest discovery in football. But what happened to him? He signed up to agreements that he could not understand at the time. He was not very educated, and he was taken advantage of. He was exploited. So even with whatever career path you want to have, which is non-academic, you'll find out that acquiring some basic education, at least to the senior high school level, will really, really help you and will make you a better athlete, a better sportsman, or if you want to be a musician, a better musician, and all of that. Because in the world today, there are complex agreements, there are all kinds of contractual arrangements that you have to go into with agents, with so-called organizations and all of that. And if you are not able to read and write and have some understanding for yourself, you will be doing all the hard work, and somebody, will just be sitting at home and taking your money, taking advantage of you. Then there was a question about 18-year-old science student. Why do you have to do elective physics, chemistry, biology, and elective mathematics? You have to do all that because you need them. You need these subjects. You cannot be a doctor who knows only biology and knows nothing about chemistry, knows nothing about physics, knows nothing about elective mathematics. You will find out soon that there is an interplay. You need all of those subjects. You cannot be a good engineer if you don't understand physics and all you think you know is elective maths. The principles are the same in all those subjects and they relate to each other. So you need them. And apart from that, it also gives you more opportunities. It opens more doors to you. So once you have offered elective maths, elective physics, elective chemistry, elective biology, if you decide that you don't want to offer medicine, you want to do engineering, you want to do actuarial science, because you have physics in there, you have mathematics in there, it opens the door for you. It puts you in good position. So yes, we know it's tough. Nothing is easy in this world. Nothing is easy. Nothing is easy in this world. Even those who are called by God, who have a special anointing and grace, as they tell us, the pastors, the reverend ministers, they'll tell you it's not easy. You see how they travel all over the world. A lot of risks and all of that. Standing before us, hours on end, preaching to us, wanting to bring down salvation and to put us on the straight and narrow path. It doesn't come easy. So nothing comes easy in this world. You have to always be ready to study. And in the world today, the smarter ones are those who even go beyond the syllabi, beyond the curriculum, and even read extra. So those who are always online, using the internet wisely, not going to, zones that you shouldn't go to, but acquiring more knowledge, using the library, reading more books that are not even in your prescribed area. Because there's nothing wrong with a science student knowing a lot more about technical vocational education, knowing something about the history of our country, something about political science, something about economics, something about sociology. You find out that it will help you. And even in the world of work, you don't know where you will end up. And the more knowledge you have, the better you are placed to excel in your chosen career. So don't be tired at all. Don't think that you are too loaded. These are the requirements. We have the experts who put these courses together, the curriculum together, have just looked at the essentials, what you need. But it's not all you need to make it in life. It's just what you need just to survive, pass your exams, and to transition to the next level and to offer whatever program you want to offer. But it's not all you need to make it in life. That is why you are still encouraged to read more, to join clubs, and to acquire more knowledge outside your comfort zones. And we encourage you to do that. Don't feel that you are being stressed or you are being being tormented. Actually, when you talk to our seniors who were in the O level and A level system, the accusation they have about the new system or the reservation they have about the new system is that it's a bit too narrow. and that we have narrowed the curriculum, and that during their time it was very open. You did general paper, you had so much knowledge about, uh, a wide array of things, and so they matured quicker and they excelled on the job market. Some of them just had O levels and they could go places and work everywhere. They compare themselves to senior high school leavers today, and they say that our knowledge is too narrow. So let's also be guided by this, and let it encourage us to even read more beyond the prescribed textbook and the prescribed subjects that we are offering. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. I know we have several questions to ask and contributions to make, but don't worry. We are setting yet another stage for you to express yourself and ask as many as you could actually do. So please take note of this email address. So if you have any comment to make, questions, contributions, blah, 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 you do so via admin@nya.gov.gh. Admin, ADMIN at National Youth Authority, that is NYA, at nya.gov.gh. Kindly take note. Then, all right, so if you have any concern about curriculum issues, feel free, send your questions to, kindly mention the email address.
To the curriculum division, and this is our email: crddgeshq@gmail.com. crddgeshq@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you too. So quickly, let me rehash it. The first one is admin at nya.gov.gh. Admin, ADMIN at nya.gov.gh. Right, so if you want to send emails or contributions directly to the NDPC, kindly send your contributions to longtermplan@ndpc.gov.gh. If you have any contribution to make directly to the National Development Planning Commission, the email is longtermplan@ndpc.gov.gh, and you surely would have a response from them. The other email, still for the National Development Planning Commission, is info@ndpc.gov.gh. At this juncture, shall we have our band leading us to sing the youth patriotic anthem? Arise, Ghana, youth. Thank you very much. I expected to hear more from the backing vocalist. We are all involved, but I didn't hear much from you in that regard. Well, shall we all invite our Honorable Minister once again, this time round, to launch this program for which we've been here for some time and having this interesting conversation about the way forward for our country. Honorable.
Good. Thank you very much. I promise you that I will be very brief. I know that we've been sitting for a while, and the interactive session has really clarified issues, and we all appreciate why we are gathered here today. Our chairman, directors of education, our special guest speaker. I also recognize district directors of education, including my own district director, Auntie Rhoda. I just saw her. I didn't know she was here. That means that I have some of my constituents here from schools in North Tong, my beloved Holy Village. And I want to especially acknowledge all our students who have traveled from far and near to join us for this launch, and also to congratulate the students of Accra Academy who have been a fantastic host. I'm really impressed with the band and the choir. I see that Accra Academy is a school of many, many parts. So you see what we were talking about. Just as hoe and cutlasses are not really in the curriculum, belonging to the school band and the school choir, it's not. But it's all part of the acquisition of knowledge and getting more experiences that will serve us well in the near future. I want to begin by extending to you very, very warm regards from my boss and our mother, Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman, who was really looking forward to this program, but had to travel to New York with His Excellency the President of the UN General Assembly meetings. She has asked that I extend to you a very, very warm regards, and she has been part of this process, and she really is looking forward to the input that will be coming from you. So I'll proceed to read her address. I'm delighted to be part of this era when, for the first time in the history of this nation and probably in the annals of the African region, a pragmatic and an all-inclusive initiative has been taken to get the children and the youth of our dear nation on board the process towards the development of a long-term national development plan. And I must tell you that I was quite sad when Doc rolled out the nations that have pursued long-term development plans. I didn't see any African nation. I saw other countries, Turkey, Singapore, Malaysia. So it's good that once again, Ghana is taking the lead in this regard. And we are including the youth and the children. This is an exciting departure from what used to be the saying or the norm for a long time, that when elders are speaking, the youth or children have to shut up, have to be quiet. The elders know what's best for you and will prepare a strong future for you. But this is a departure from that. The belief clearly by the National Development Planning Commission and by government is that the youth and the children of Ghana must be heard. They have a vital role to play, and so we have to give them that audience. So this is in line with recent development trends in democratic governance, where popular processes have been encouraged to precede the technical joint consultative planning sessions. This platform has been created to afford the children and youth an adequate role to effectively participate in the development processes and ensure that their aspirations and desires are heard, documented, and used to inform the development processes of our long-term national development plan. This is all about making the voice of our children and youth heard on the policy development agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, while investment in the plan begins now, the benefits will last for generations. Therefore, it is imperative that all the different generations present have an input, and that input must be valued to ensure that the resulting plan gives not only a fair representation, but also is accepted and implemented by all, including the youth who are to succeed the current generation of leaders. And it's interesting, Professor Boche was making the point about Brexit. When the voter patterns were disaggregated, it was revealed that a whopping 73% of the youth in Britain voted for to stay in the European Union, to stay in the EU. But the decision has been taken by those who will not be there, the seniors who will not be there. And we saw a similar trend happen in the US Democratic Convention, where the youth were behind Bernie Sanders, but Bernie Sanders lost out. Now, the strategy is to get the concerns of the youth to be taken on board by the Hillary campaign. So all over the world, the concerns of the youth are being taken serious. The issue is how do you really bring those concerns on board and make sure that the youth are not left out and that their hopes and aspirations are being carried. And here in Ghana, we are clearly showing the way. We are not leaving the youth out. The NDPC ought to be commended for this initiative. So the youth constitute a high proportion of the population, as we all know, and represent an exciting opportunity for investment in development. They are especially endowed with energy and enthusiasm, ideas and creativity, endless curiosity, and the drive to discover. The youth are important stakeholders in the planning processes and can play different roles as leaders, as partners, and as beneficiaries of the nation's development agenda. Their active participation in introducing and producing the LTNDP is not just for the sake of inclusivity. It is about harnessing the enormous abilities and enthusiasm of the youth for the benefit of their communities and entire societies. Mr. Chairman, the youth have the potential for playing a decisive role in promoting change. The future of our communities and our nation depends on the way we raise and support young people to handle the affairs of tomorrow. And tomorrow is not the time to learn. Learning is for today. As the youth get involved in the planning process, they learn to lead. It is in the light of this that the Ministry of Education, the National Development Planning Commission, the Ghana Education Service, and the National Youth Authority, under the program, The Future We Want to Build for Ourselves, identifies with this day as an important landmark in the history of this nation. Today, we have listened to the outline roadmap and the processes towards the development of our long-term national development plan. So, the theme is very dear to our hearts. The future we want to build for ourselves. Ourselves. Nobody is going to build Ghana for us. No, nobody. No external force, no external entity. We have to do it for ourselves. And the future we want is what we can build for ourselves. So, Mr. Chairman, all children and youth within our educational system are being invited to be part of this process by making known their aspirations and vision for this nation. We want you, the children and youth, to tell us what you expect to have in this country over the next 40 years. How do you want Ghana to look like? Most of you are averaging 16, 17 years. In the next 40 years, you'll be 56, 57, and you will be in the helm of affairs. What kind of Ghana do you want to run, to be in charge of when you have gotten there. So over the next 40 years, we expect that through writings and drawings at the basic education level for primary and junior high schools, you will give us your input. We also would like you to express yourselves as much as possible and let us know what you expect to see in our schools, in our hospitals, in our communities, in our churches, in our mosques, in our homes. Please don't be inward looking, don't be too narrow and too selfish. Be broad in your outlook. Remember that you will be living in Ghana, not only in Agri Memorial or in Accra Academy or in AME Zion or in First and Kizito Senior High School in North Town, but you will be living in Ghana and you'll be part of a global village, committee of nations. How do you want that future to look like? We want your vision in that regard. So, ladies and gentlemen, at the second cycle level, we expect the 2016-2017 National SHS Debate Competition to focus on this event. The theme will be the future we want to build for ourselves, and will be guided by this topic in setting the topics for the debate. And so we ask you to start preparing the debating clubs, and those of you who will be representing your schools in this debate. The theme for the debate will be around the topic, the future we want to build for ourselves. So you have a head start as compared to your colleagues who are not here today. So let's get ready and let's hope that the winner of the debate eventually will come from one of the schools here. So in a simple way, we want you, the future leaders, to tell us through writing and or drawing and or artwork what you want our education system or schools to be like. So Akosia's brother has not been left out. So we are not only looking for the so-called sharp brains who can write long theses, but we also want those who can draw, who can paint, who can be very creative to let us know. And as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That will even be clearer to us, the kind of future that you envision. So this is what you need to know about the essay and drawing competition. The National Essay and Drawing Competition is open to the children and youth. It's a written essay, artwork, or drawing, and must convey the aspiration for a better life for current and future generations. It must have an appropriate title or caption and represent the kind of transformation that we, the children and the youth, would like to see in the future. The personal roles that children and youth will play towards building a desired Ghana shall be very key in assessing the essay and art competitions. The best essays and artwork will be selected for awards by a joint NDPC Ministry of Education committee, which shall assess the creativity and innovation captured in the submission. The winning submissions will typically be bold, very imaginative, out of the ordinary, and must be believable. It must certainly be believable. Now I want to talk about the Ghana Dream Week. And this will be from the 26th to the 30th of September 2016. The Dream Ghana Week, which we will be marking on the 26th to the 30th of September 2016. So the Dream Ghana Week is a special time for creative thinking by pupils and students in the basic school system with the support of the teaching and non-teaching staff and school management. During this week, we encourage the head of schools and teachers to use appropriate lesson periods to discuss with the children on the theme, the Ghana we want to build for ourselves. Propose activities and events using the brochure that I will be soon outdooring. The youth and the future of Ghana. The staff, head teachers and non-teaching staff, as well as school prefects are encouraged to lead discussions to raise students' awareness of their role in national development in general, specifically on the Dream Ghana Week. So each school is encouraged to set aside a specific day to do a particular set of activities of the Dream Ghana Week through which students are expected to express their development aspirations. 2, pupils and students, guided by teachers, are encouraged to discuss and educate themselves on the importance of planning for personal and national development. The children and youth are encouraged to articulate their vision for themselves and for Ghana in diverse forms through drawings, sketches, essays, poems, storytelling, oratory sessions, debates, drama, skits, amongst others. 3, the youth are to express their vision and aspirations and to make proposals for tackling specific personal and national developmental concerns. They are to discuss the specific roles and responsibilities of the youth in ensuring the development of Ghana with respect to the economy, society, the community, environment, infrastructure, and institutions of state. 4, heads of schools are to select the best outputs, drawings, essays, poems, to post on school notice boards to encourage children to participate and excel in the exercise. 5, students are encouraged to participate in the national competition and further develop their writing or drawing to enter the competition. 6, head teachers are to submit the best of the selected works from their schools directly to the commission via the email that has been presented a short while ago. Parents and guardians are also encouraged to submit their awards, drawings, or poems and essays directly to the NDPC. The NDPC website is available and can be accessed by parents and guardians. The email of NDPC is at the website, and you can send your submissions directly to the commission. So 8, that's final point, exceptionally brilliant submissions of poetry, speech, drawings, skits may be showcased at the National Youth Forum. Head teachers are encouraged to submit such pieces for assessment. Submissions of typed or handwritten essays of not more than 2 pages for an artwork depicting a vision or aspiration of the future may be sent via post or email. And so this brochure, which is titled The Youth and the Future of Ghana, copies will be made available to all of you. You'll find more detail on the launch, the essay competition, and how to send in your entries. I just want to, before I conclude my speech, just make a little observation that I have made. I've noticed that in all the infomercials, I don't see social media playing any role. And this is the social media generation. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, what are the others? LinkedIn and all the others. There are always new ones that I hear of that I have no clue what is happening there. So I will appeal to the committee members that let us include that so that we can have a strong social media presence that will attract more of the youth to participate in the program. So in concluding, Mr. Chairman, I wish, on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Education, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman, to declare the Dream Ghana Week duly launched. Arise, Ghanaian children and youth. The nation demands your devotion and your loyalty. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you to Honorable. We are getting to the end of the program. And time is due to have a vote of thanks. And I'm inviting over here the school prefect of Bubiashin JHS to do this for us. Shall we welcome her? So we have 2 items remaining. Oh, my dear lady, still come around. Great. Where are you running to? Or you are going to pick up something? Feel free. You can go and return in few minutes' time. So she'll be doing the vote of thanks. But before she goes ahead, we must hear from our chairperson. At least he must wrap up nicely for us, then we leave. So, Prof, time is due for you now.
Let me usurp just a few minutes of your vote of thanks. Young ladies and gentlemen especially, I'm going to leave here truly delighted because I think we've had a wonderful function. And I was particularly thrilled to see the enthusiasm with which you participated, but especially the profundity of some of the and very searching questions that you asked. Wonderful. Let's give yourselves a clap. As we leave here, let me just a little piece of advice. You see, just as a nation must decide what its comparative advantage is, what it is strongest in doing, and even in the area of industrialization, we can't industrialize and do everything. Even as a nation, we must ask ourselves, in competing on the global arena, what can we do best? The same thing goes for you as an individual youth. Whatever it is that your heart is in, you ask yourself, what is it that I can do best? Whatever it happens to be, even if it's needlework, whatever it is, remember, do it and excel in doing it, not only by Ghanaian standards, because we don't live in isolation, but also by world standards. And also remember that the Bill Gates of this world, some of the leading captains of industry, they were not PhDs, some of them really dropped out of university. But just through dogged determination and creativity and innovation, they made millions of money and made a name for themselves and for their country. We've launched a process. You see, if in 1976, say, we had decided as a nation that by 2016, we wouldn't have any open gutters in any of our cities, that all our cities will have centralized sewage systems, that all our regional capitals will be serviced by railway. I mean, or that the Black Stars will be world class and would have won a World Cup or two. If we had decided in 76 that this was our quest, okay, we wouldn't be seeing any open gutters around today. It's 40 years. So 40 years is not that long. The thing is to dream it, plan it, and live it. And that's the process we have begun. But even this launch isn't just a one-day event. Mr. Ablakwa has enumerated the other things that are going to be going on, the essay competitions, the drawings, culminating in a youth forum and a report that will come with it. So, wonderful experience for me. I hope that you all also thoroughly enjoyed it. But as you leave, also remember, and let us be proud, patriotic, and be proud to be Ghanaian. We did very well in sports in the First Republic. The Black Stars dominated the Africa Cup for years, one year after the other. We won Commonwealth Games, medals in Commonwealth Games. I don't know what we did in the Olympics, but we dominated the continent even in sports. You know why? Because Nkrumah invested in sports. He brought in the best in the world to train our people. He set up a preeminent club, the Republicans. Okay, so everything depends on what we plan to do. As we were showing the shiny railways and the beautiful infrastructure, I noticed some of you were probably asking yourself, Ghana, can we really do this? Okay, it looks incredible, but it can be done. Even without planning, just look at what is happening in Accra. Without planning, you've been to the airport city. You know airport city? Come on, you must know airport city. Oh, those of you who are in Accra. It's changed. The skyline there has changed. As you drive towards Kimbu in Accra, as you drive towards Kimbu from the Rich Circle, just look at what is happening to your right, opposite Land Park, all the way to Kimbu. Is it the same? No, it is changing. Did you ever imagine it looked like that 20 years ago? People were selling things by the roadside and, cattle were grazing there. So even without a plan, the market itself also does things, but there's no substitute for setting goals, long-term goals, and achieving them. Our budding author, who's going to launch his book this week, you asked education policy, how about the medium term? Well, that's the whole point. We didn't get to answer your question. The long-term plan will set out a vision of what kinds of education institutions and such as we want. But the medium-term plans will be done by the political parties, all of them in pursuit of the long-term plan. So finally, let's be proud as Ghanaians. Let's remember that Nkrumah didn't call this place the land of the Black Star for nothing. He wanted it to be a sparkling, bright star on this glorious Gulf of Guinea coast. So bear your chest, be bold and be proud, and swear to yourself that you will contribute to get this nation's full potential realized. I thank you.
Right, thank you very much. So time is due for the vote of thanks now.
Dignitaries on the days, directors of education, teachers, invited guests, pupils and students, I thank God for a successful program. I take the opportunity to thank our dignitaries for their presentations, inputs, and statements. I also acknowledge the dedication of all committee members, without whose help and support this function would not have been possible. Lastly, the NDPC, the Ministry of Education, the GES, and the National Youth Authority take this opportunity to express deep gratitude to all of you for gracing this program. Thank you.
That was snappy. So we are ending, and Miss Joyce Morrison will be joining us. She's warming. She's warming. Hey, who says shy? She will shy you. Anyway, but she's the one coming, and she's ready now.
Shall we please close our eyes? Immortal God, invisible God, giver of all things, we thank you this afternoon. We thank you for how far you've brought us. We thank you for being with us by the beginning and the end. Lord, as we are living here, we are not leaving your presence. Our prayer is that guide us and take us safely to our destination. These and many things we ask in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
I told you, did I not, that she may end up shying you, and she indeed did just that. So please, few announcements, then we are off from here. After we are done and leaving, a teacher and then two pupils from each of the schools should kindly see officials at the front desk. And I'm inviting you. The discussion continuous online on social media platforms, and then to also send your contributions to the emails mentioned. But then I belong to Curious Minds, the Children and Youth in Broadcasting, and as such, I'm also inviting you over to join our group so we continue the discussion on our various radio and then TV programs. We are based at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC, near or at Kanda. So feel free, especially those in school now. We are inviting you to come over. We meet on Fridays. After the event, you can see me, then we look at the way forward. So please, it's all over now. Thank you very much for coming. Please, a moment before you leave. There is yet another. Please, we have yet an important task to perform, which is very necessary. We've had a prayer done by our Christian, um, our Christian sister. Let's do that for our Muslim faith too. So please, if Mr. Abdul Rahman Al Hassan is there, kindly join us to do this for us. It's very important.
Shall we be in the mood of a prayer, please? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We seek refuge in Allah from Satan, the accursed. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, the master and owner of the day of judgment, the master and owner and cherisher of the world, the one upon whom we depend and the one upon whom we ask and seek help from. We thank him for seeing us through a wonderful launch of this wonderful initiative. We ask him to carry us through to the very end, and by the next 40 years, we'll be saying Alhamdulillah for where we are now, MashaAllah for where we have reached, and Inshallah for where we'll get to. We say a big amen to that. Assalamu alaikum.
So our dignitaries would first take leave of us, but as they leave, just relax. We have an icebreaker for you, especially for our youngsters. You know what an icebreaker is? Yes, like we did, to whom to. So as they are leaving, then we do our icebreaker. So if you are ready, just stand, let's do this quickly. For the students, and the plan has to do with commitment. And when we commit, we must fulfill the commitment we are all making now. So this icebreaker is all about ensuring that you commit. So are we listening? Yours is to do as I say and not as I do. We get it? Right. So it applies to the plan. Ours is to do what exactly we are all agreeing to and not otherwise. So it's called the plan. It's called the plan, and this is how it goes. Have you seen or heard of the plan? What do we use in planning? Our heads, right? The brains. Right. So it goes like this. Have you seen or heard of the plan which was needed in the army from the left to the right? Hip, hip, hooray. We are making it snappy, then we go. Have you seen or heard of the plan which was needed in the army from the left to the right? Hip, hip, then hooray. Did we get it? Right, so we are not done. This is how it's going. Yours, you're conducting interview. Yours is to do as I say and not as I do. So when we start, I may end up mixing up the rules. So yours is to get it. Okay? So have you seen or heard of the plan which was needed in the army from the left to the right? Hip, hip, then hooray. We are starting. Are you ready? Okay. So have you seen or heard of the plan which was needed in the army from the left to the right. Hip hip, hooray. Let's go again. Have you seen or heard? Don't worry, some other time we shall continue. Thank you very much.